Boy, what a beautiful day on Delmarva. Oh, I forgot my hat. All right, got my hat on. I don't feel naked. So, we got a couple little things happening this morning right off the bat. One is I dropped the land all off and hooked the chisel plows back up. We are not going to be technically chisel plowing. I'm just going to use this to open up some ground that is extremely wet. We've got an 11-acre field about 6 miles from here that is always seems to be wet. So it's completely filled over with chick pick right now. You can't see anything underneath of it, but when we walked out in it, you could see there was still standing water. And when you look down our ruts from last year in the combine, you can still see the water. As a matter of fact, you've already seen this field. It was a field I was cutting soybeans in back in one of our first episodes where I made the joke about it being a rice farm. So yeah. So the other thing that's happening this morning is Service Tire Truck Center out of Seaford, Delaware is coming back to the shop to put a inner tube in this tire. And if you remember, we had the inner tube that was in here that they installed was either defective or put in incorrectly and pinched, and it blew out in the field. Well, when they came out and repaired it, the guy said, well, you don't really need to have an inner tube. And he's right, we didn't. But because of the weight of this sprayer coming down on the sidewall, it compromised the sidewall. So as you can see, we have bubbles coming out everywhere where the tire got pinched by the sidewall. That's just eventually going to blow out. So they're going to come, I talked to them this morning, they're going to come and put a new inner tube in it. They're going to come here, I don't have to take the tire to them, and this is all on them. That's service. Hopefully the sidewall being compromised is just for air and not integrity. I think we'll be okay. Time will tell. Let all my bought air out. Yeah. So what'd you say? You're letting the winter air out and putting summer air in?
Summer air.
Well, as you can see, the tire is still not back on. The technician looked at this tire and recommended not putting it back on. It has been chewed up too much. Unfortunately, Service Tire Truck Center will not replace the tire. They will come back and mount a new tire on and put a new tube in, but they will not replace the tire. I can halfway understand their argument, but my argument is their defective tube or defective install of the tube is what damaged this brand new tire. So, well, I've already ordered a new tire. It's coming, it'll be here in 5 days. Until then, the sprayer is an anchor in the shop. It ain't going nowhere. So I did want to clarify something about my comment earlier. Service Tire Truck Center, I think, has done a good job. I'm not displeased with them. Yes, I would rather not have to pay for another tire, but they have come out to my farm 3 times, once after hours on a weekend, to help try to resolve the issue. So I do not put them at fault. I am using them again and will continue to use them because they do have great customer support. I can understand their position on not wanting to pay for the tire. Because one, I didn't buy the tire from them, which was a mistake. I should have bought the tire from them. But I found a decent deal on tires online and bought some online, like we all do. We were hunting for the best price. But this is where hunting for the best price isn't always the best thing. Sometimes stuff just happens and you end up on the crap end of the stick. And unfortunately, I held onto that stick with both hands and then wiped my mouth. It's just the way it goes. It's just money. Never seen a U-Haul behind a hearse. We're gonna head down here and break open this wet field. Then once it's broke open, I'm going to drop these chisel plows back off, hook up the landall, and then I gotta take the pickup truck and check out to see if they spread that potash and fertilizer out on my other farms and if they're done. If so, we can take the landall, get everything prepped and ready to plant. Maybe move the planter out there and plant a few acres tonight, but more than likely we'll start in the morning. Catch you in the field. Well, you can see our old ruts, and it's working up nicely. It's really not as wet here as I thought it would be, but we're just spot hitting it with the chisel plows. I'm not doing the whole field. We'll come down here with the Landau and run over the rest of it. This farm is odd. It's got some really good dirt, very poor drainage, and then there's one spot of it that's got a lot of sand in it. And on top of it, it's got a lot of deer pressure. But this will be our last year on this piece of ground. The landowner sold it, and it is being developed. So go back, funny enough, go back to when I was out in this field with the combine and listen to my comments about, one of the biggest issues we face in this area is development. At the time, I didn't know that this was being sold. They're gonna put, this is 11 acres here. Now, I don't know how much is in the woods over there, but out of this 11 acres, they're gonna put, I think it was 154 homes. Yeah. People wonder why farmers can't afford to buy their own land. This is it. I don't know what it's sold for, but I imagine with the amount of development in this area, this farm probably sold for buku bucks, just a guess. But and good for the landowner. I mean, they get what you can out of what you own, right? It's just a sign of the times. We won't be farming this next year, and honestly, it's not going to be a big loss to our farm. Yes, it's 10 acres that we're losing, which is 1/20th of our ground, so it will impact us that way. But we never really got excellent crops off of this because of the underlying issues. The deer, the poor ground and always being stagnant in water. It not been a very good producing farm for us. So, and that's why the last farmer gave it up. It wasn't very productive. But again, for a small farmer like me, I'll take any little piece of land I can get as long as I know I can make some money on it. I don't want to do it for free and just feed deer. I wanted to show you. So there's standing water here, right? I wanted to show you something. Why we rip through standing water like this. Look at the bubbles. Those bubbles are releasing trapped air that's been stuck under the hard pan. And now that water can infiltrate down into the hard pan. So anytime you see water standing like that, there's a good chance you can get it to drain. Maybe not all the way, but you will improve it just by doing this. So we're going to run the chisel plows through that spot one more time. But I wanted to show you that. I think that's neat to see where that air is coming back up, where that cavity was and the water couldn't get down to it. So that will drain a lot better. I wouldn't be surprised if when I come back here in a few days with the Landau that this is pretty much almost gone. But that water's been there so long, there's algae in it. That's all water standing in that rut. But it's ripping it up. Uh-oh. Slippage. She'll get through it. Dirty. Oh my goodness, this dirty girl. So here's something interesting a lot of people don't probably know. So in a tractor, see how this wheel's not really spinning in the mud, but this one is? Well, now they both are because we're sitting, when it gets real muddy, what happens is the differential will try to put the power to the wheel that doesn't have traction. Try to speed that wheel up to give you traction. Well, that's not always a good thing, especially in mud. So we can hit this differential lock, and what that does is it locks the axle together. So that way both tires have equal power, they're locked together. So that way they're spinning at equal speed and they both have maximum power to them. And that just helps you fight through situations like this where we're fighting mud. Just a little tool that we have at our disposal, in just about any tractor really. I don't know many tractors that don't have differential locks. This one does not have a front differential lock for the front wheel drive portion of the tractor. Some tractors do. This one did not come with it, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I'd want it because that axle up there is a lot smaller. Here's a good example. Look, I'm gonna hit the button and now boom, we're spinning again. But I don't know that I'd want it on a small axle like that because that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of torque being applied, and I could see bad things happening, especially when you're fighting the wheel back and forth to gain traction. I feel like it would be easy to snap something. All right, we're off to the planter. I'm going to go plant my 42-acre farm. I got the Landau's already out there, and I've got Eugene started on it. So he's going to be Landauing for us. This is what happens when you break a marker bolt. It's a breakaway bolt in case you hit a tree or something, but every now and then they just give way. And I put it down, and as you can see, it gave way. So it ain't nothing more than this little old bolt here, 3/8 bolt I think is what it is. So we just got to drive the old one out. This one already fell out, and put it back together. And just like that, problem solved. While we're out, let's walk back here, just take a look at everything. Make sure we don't see anything obvious. Nothing broke, falling off, falling out. Everything looks good. Hey buddy. Hey, you shouldn't sleep here. Oh, you're eating another one, I see. One snake eating another snake. Uh-oh, uh-oh, he's coming out. Look at him backing off of it. He's pissed. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother you. I'd be mad if somebody was interrupting my dinner too. All right, back to planting. Well, looking at the radar, we've got a line of storms that just came across the Chesapeake Bay, and it was sunny just a few minutes ago, and it's already starting to get a little bit dark over that way. So I don't know how much longer we'll be out here, but we're going to go until it rains. I did bump the speed up a little bit. We're about a little over halfway done this farm. I'm getting ready to cross the ditch that divides the farm, but we're going 5.7, 5.8, somewhere in there. So we're doing about 21 acres an hour. Our population or singulation is terrible because of the flat seed with the round seed discs or plates. So there's nothing we can do about that. All right, well, I just thought I'd give you an update. I was going to try to do a little bit more filming, but with this rain coming, I don't know how much I'll be picking the camera up because I need to kind of boogie and get over as much of this ground as we can. I'd like to get in that back corner where it's wet. Probably next time you see me will be with raindrops on the window. One of the issues that we deal with when you start planting and it's getting dark is you cannot see your marker row. You know, what the line I'm supposed to follow that our row markers leave, because the sun doesn't dry out the soil around it, so when the marker runs through it, it's hard to see your line. I mean, it's not exactly easy. Every now and then I get a glimpse of it, but I might have to stop and pitch those markers a little bit more to cut a bigger trench for me to see. Just, you know, one of those fun things. But our storm's coming. I've got like 6 acres left to go. Skies are talking. I'm saying something too. I'm saying we're gonna get done before you get here. I don't know if it can hear me. I'm thinking it probably doesn't hear what I'm saying. Makes me feel better though. It's kind of like yelling at somebody with your window up in your car. That joke was for you, Dad. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's you and me, and I'm right here. Name that movie. Come on, we got a storm coming, thrashing around on a tractor. It was a ship, but name that movie. I give you a hint. Lieutenant Dan. There goes Eugene. They grow up so fast.